Welcome to part 10, the wings. So, leading on from where I left you last time, everything was not glued. Well, 99.9% of this is now glued. And I'm just going to run through what I've done for preparation for the ailerons. So, I'll get to the servo in just a minute. I put a top rail in here. Now this is not glued at all. This is just seeing how things fit. Now it would seem, looking at this, that I will have to cut this to let it in and let the natural top of the rib be as it should be. So these will just be fill-ins. Okay? And this gives me something to put the hinge into, and when I cut this bit out I have to put another whole length of what I have here, shape it so that I can then allow the aileron to go up and down. Now here is the servo, and I've let the servo into this rib here. Okay, so that's a bit of a snug fit. The rib is currently loose, I need to take that out, but it's all ready to go back in. I put a plate at the bottom and temporarily screwed in the servo just to keep it in place. Okay, you might see the two screws there, one there, one there. They're temporary. Now what I will do, what I'm thinking about doing, is putting a bracing strut this side, so the screw has something even better to screw into, and that will brace this servo up. And obviously I'll have to adjust that rib to allow for that. So when we come to putting the strut in from the lower wing to the top wing, this should now be unaffected, and then I'll just make an extra piece end rib here and carry on with whatever I've got here. Okay, now that's all glued in, the cables are a little bit neater and tidier, and I can just pick this up and handle it however I want to handle it. So this is the underneath for the servo, and as I said earlier, this is just in temporary, and there will be a brace going across here and across here, and that gives something better for the screws to bite into, and it will secure the servo to the wing. So now the servo can't move. Well, the arm will move, and obviously I will cut a slot in here to allow the travel of the arm, and that is where we are at with that. Cool cat. Okay, I have given a little bit of a shape to the leading edge. I'm not too mad with it, and I've taken all the brown off where it's been laser cut, because when you come to cover it, it will sort of wrinkle. So if you don't want any wrinkles in your film when you cover it, you must make sure that all the ribs are sanded. So there we are, there's the bottom. Okay, there is the top. So you can see we have twice as many ribs, which I think is very pleasing to the eye, and will give it a lot more shape and thereby lift. So there we are. So what am I going to do next? Well, what I'm going to do next is cut these to length. Of course, you need to chamfer that one there. That one needs to be longer, obviously. Well, this is just to see if it fits. and it does. It's a bit tight right now, but there you go. It comes out like that. So that's what it looks like underneath. Okay, and obviously there'll be another piece goes in about there. There you go, about there. And this allows the hinge to come this side, and that'll go through to this side, and this will not affect the arm or anything, depending where I put them. Probably put three, one here, one in the middle, one in the end. I probably could have moved this over here on reflection, but it's okay where it is, and the wing is deep enough to accommodate that servo. Let's see, how much have we got there? We've got probably a millimetre, probably 2 at best in that position there. When it comes to it, I have to make sure that this is fully operational before I glue that rib in. It has to be fully operational, proved to be fully operational, because if I don't, I'm going to be in a very strange place. So there you are, it's 99.9% all glued in. So far at this point, fingers crossed, it's looking okay and better than I had expected. So let's put that to one side there. Putting that back onto the plan. Everything seems to be lining up otherwise. It may be wise for me to start the centre section to see how things line up, because there is a dihedral on the bottom wing. There is a dihedral for the top, but I think that's optional for the top, and I think it only needs a dihedral in the bottom. That just gives it that stability, and having a dihedral in the bottom and the top gives it too much stability, which negates the use of the ailerons, because if you want the ailerons to work and make it aerobatic, you have to take some of that stability out. But I think having the stability just on the bottom wing will be more than enough. And the reason you want dihedral in the bottom and the top wing is if you're making a rubber powered model, because you want that to be stable. But this isn't a rubber powered model. Well, not anymore, it's not. So you have control of the aileron, so you don't need that much stability. You have too much stability. So if you have too much stability, you want to roll using the ailerons, the dihedral is going to resist it, and you're going to get a lazy roll. Yeah. So I think the dihedral is only really needed on the bottom, and I don't even know if I care to put as much dihedral in as instructed. But anyway, let's get the wings built, and I'll decide that later. And that's where we are for the moment. And I hope this has been of some interest to you. And we'll move swiftly on. An interesting turn of events, but I will come back to that in just a moment. Now, progression. I have done the starboard wing, or the right hand wing. I haven't glued in this part yet, because obviously I've got to secure the servo, and the cables are through, and so I've got to modify this as well. But essentially the wing is made and it's cut to length. The port wing, which I did earlier, you saw earlier, I have still yet to trim this off. Now it seems, and according to the plan, that you have to make this all in one piece, and I've only just realised that perhaps that is the correct way. So if I just turn the plan over, we'll see what I mean. Okay, so the cut line is here, but it also goes through here, just the other side of the trailing edge of the wing rib. And so it indicates to me, although it doesn't say so, and taking in consideration that it shows the wing being flat here, that you make the whole thing all in one go. Then you cut it there, and you cut it there, and there. And this pops out, and then you glue them back together again and put the dihedral in. If that's correct, then I've done it wrong. But I'd much rather have done it wrong right now, because, and I'll show you in just a minute, I'm just highlighting this section here, A1. So bear that in mind, that's A1 there. Okay, now if I turn the plan over, highlighted in a muddy yellow is A1. Then it says here, fill in with stringers and cover with tissue. So this is showing the leading edge being up like this. That's an exaggeration, I know, but probably better using a ruler. So instead of being flat like that, it's tilted up like that, approximately I'd say 4 degrees. So that's the attacking edge there, which I think probably slightly alters the angle of incidence, but anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. So the leading edge goes up into the fuselage, and then you have to cover the bottom with stringers, and then whatever it is you're covering it with. Now the plot thickens, because, and let me just straighten things up here, I have the sensor section fitted in. I've not glued it or anything, and it's quite interesting because if you look at A1, it overlaps. Can you see that? It overlaps on the trailing edge, doesn't quite meet on the leading edge. Then I thought to myself, have I done this wrong? Because I have stepped it in there. So then I looked at the middle spar, which is shaped, okay, which I must be a little bit of sand, by the way. Okay, so if you offer that up and then look at the center section, let me just line that up best I can while I'm the camera here. You'll then find that the middle section and the middle rib just about lines up. So I'm thinking, but also if you then go back to the plan, turn this over, which is why I would prefer 2 different sheets, but there you go, that's just me only. If you look at this carefully, these are offset. So this rib, the gap between this rib H4 and H2 is wider at the leading edge than it is at the trailing edge. I made that 19mm. And that's just about 18mm. So maybe that's correct on here. If I push that in now, maybe that is designed to overlap at the back but not at the front, which then allows the centre to almost fit exactly to the centre rib. Do you see that? Do you see how the centre rib conforms? So if there's anybody out there actually built one of these before and can let me know if that's right or not, I'll be most grateful. I did have one of my questions answered to do with the fuselage, because there's a cutout here and here. So if I put a spruce this side and this side and this side and this side, that should then accommodate for the rear half of the undercarriage, and this accommodates for the front half of the undercarriage. So I've managed to sort of answer my own question there. But anyway, I thought I'd point that out, because if anybody's following on from this video, that's, to me now that I've put it together, it's obvious now that you have to put a piece either side of there, see? And the rear of the undercarriage goes in that slot. And if you use the wire, that will rest against this. I'll probably put a piece of balsa in here. Oh yeah, I've broken another blooming stringer. Just. So that the wire will rest on there. All there, I'm not quite sure if which way does it point? Yeah, they both point backwards, so if I put a piece in there, the wire can rest on there and around here on there. So that then should accommodate the wire for the undercarriage. Curious. In actual fact, it doesn't look very square on there. I wonder why. I did build it square. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just tired. Anyway, so then if I take this out, put the fuzz down out of the way, I think there's been enough breakages. That should go on like that. Yeah, so I've got to take this off, glue this onto there, and then when you come to put the dihedral in, you've got to cut it this side of F2 to add the dihedral. So if I use the other one where I've cut down the spruce, you end up with that. And then F2 goes just on the join there. So it's F2? No, sorry, H2. Goes on the join there. So if I can hold that together long enough without breaking something, it goes in like that. Yeah. And then if you imagine H2 still being there, you put the dihedral in like this. Which I think is not a good design. It should be a better way of doing it than that. You've got to cut through here, you see. So, yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Food for thought. Don't get caught out with G4. G4 has to go in that way up. It does show that on the plan, but it only shows you on the other side of the plan. I've coloured mine in to make it obvious, so you can see here, this is the rear side of the wing, so they show that there, look, yeah, so there's G4, and this side is the leading edge. trailing edge, leading edge. So if you fold it the way I did, you probably missed that trick, but that's how it comes out. And this H2 goes on like that. Okay, and then the trailing edge goes like that. So you have to cut off that corner of the trailing edge, which should be glued here. Okay, and I suggest that that's how they're telling you to do it. So I think I will post this tonight. Might get some interesting comments on that. I made a bit of a blunder. Yeah, I made a mistake. This one here that has the struts for the going from the bottom to the top wing slightly off. It's not quite true. It's a bit that way, but I'm hoping to get away with it. Nobody will notice. You won't tell anyone, will you? Okay, so I'm going to publish this because I just think it'll be interesting for anybody who's following on about somebody, and if you are, well, there you are, you've got some answers. And I'll just give you a good shot of the wing. Obviously this has got to be like the other one there. I've got to take these down, but I don't want to do it just yet because I've got to put some braces in here and here to secure the servo. Okay, and although I've not finished sanding everything down, including the leading edge, that's what the leading edge looks like so far. On the middle part, I have, there you go. So that's what it looks like when you sanded it, that leading edge. Okay, so I hope this has been informative for you and you've learnt from my mistakes, because the instructions just basically tell you nothing, so you have to learn how to read the plan properly. So there you are, there's some old idiots showing you how to do it, or at least how I did it, and how you cannot make the same mistakes as I did, which is the whole idea of doing this. Okay, because as I said right at the beginning, I am not being paid to do this. I don't get any money for doing this. I'm just sharing the love. So you can do something for me in return, and that is press the bell to subscribe, press the like button, press the like button, press the like, oh, the thumbs up one, just press it. All right, just press it, don't press it twice, press it once, and then press the subscribe button and do it now, right now.